You've been told the whole story backwards. You've been told that lifting heavy and eating to grow is vanity, that chasing muscle is something you're supposed to grow out of once you stop caring how you look on a beach. But here's what nobody puts on a supplement label, because you can't sell it in a tub. The muscle you build right now might be the single most powerful thing you can do to slow down how fast you age. Traditional bodybuilding, the old school, eat everything, never take a rest day approach, is quietly accelerating cellular aging in a lot of the people who chase it. And yet the tissue itself, lean muscle, is one of the most protective organs you own. That's the paradox you're going to untangle today. Because by the time this is over, you won't think of your training as a way to get bigger. You'll think of it as a longevity protocol that happens to make you look incredible as a side effect. Let's start with the idea that reframes everything else. You probably think of muscle as the stuff that moves your bones around. It does that, sure, but that's the least interesting thing it does. Your skeletal muscle is an endocrine organ. Every time you contract it hard, it releases signaling molecules called myokines that travel through your blood and talk to your brain, your fat cells, your immune system, and the lining of your arteries. Muscle is the largest site in your body for pulling glucose out of your bloodstream, which means the more of it you carry, the more forgiving your metabolism becomes, and the further you sit from the slow diseases that quietly shorten most lives. Now here's the part that should light a fire under you. Researchers who study aging have found that your muscle mass and, even more importantly, your strength in your later decades are among the strongest predictors of how long you live. Grip strength alone tracks with mortality better than blood pressure does. The gradual loss of muscle as you age, a process called sarcopenia, isn't a cosmetic problem. It's the thing that takes independence away from people. It starts in your 30s, quietly, at roughly 3 to 5% per decade if you do nothing about it, and it accelerates later. So when you train to build muscle, you're not vain. You're depositing into an account you won't need to withdraw from for 40 years. And every rep is compounding interest. So why did I say the old approach ages you? Because how you build the muscle matters as much as whether you build it. The classic dirty bulk, the one where you slam thousands of extra calories, treat every meal like a challenge, and watch the scale rocket up, does grow muscle. But it also floods your body with excess fat, chronic inflammation, and constantly elevated growth signaling. You have a pathway inside you called mTOR. It's the master switch for building tissue, and you absolutely need to flip it on to grow. But when it's jammed in the on position around the clock, from constant overfeeding, it's associated with faster cellular aging. The goal isn't to avoid growth signaling. The goal is to pulse it, to earn it through training and smart eating, and then let it settle back down. That rhythm, push then recover, grow then restore, is the whole game. This is exactly why lean bulking beats every other approach when your real target is a body that lasts. If you've watched my other videos on how to lean bulk, you already know the philosophy. You add muscle on the smallest surplus that still lets you grow, so you're building tissue without drowning it in fat. And this is where I have to explain the surplus properly, because most people get it completely wrong. Let's do caloric surplus explained the way it should be taught. A surplus just means you're eating slightly more energy than you burn in a day. Your body needs that extra material to lay down new muscle, because you can't build a wall without bricks. But the size of the surplus is everything. A dirty bulk might run 500, 700, even 1,000 calories over what you need. A lean bulk runs a small, controlled surplus, usually somewhere around 200 to 300 calories a day, roughly 10% above your maintenance level. That's enough to fuel muscle protein synthesis and almost nothing extra to spill over into fat. You gain slower, yes. You might add half a pound to a pound a month instead of watching the scale jump. But nearly all of that weight is the tissue you actually want, the tissue that protects you. And you never have to do those brutal, aggressive cuts that strip muscle right back off and stress your whole system. And if you'd rather not guess your way through this, I built my Lean Bulk program to hand you the exact plan step by step, so click the link in the description and grab it now. Now let's talk about the training, because the surplus is just raw material. The signal that tells your body to use that material is tension, and the way you keep improving is progressive overload. That simply means you ask a little more of your muscles over time, a little more weight, One more rep, one more set, better control. Your body adapts to demands, so you have to keep raising the demand. And here's the longevity twist most lifters miss. You should be tracking your strength like it's a health biomarker, because it is. The number you can squat, hinge, press, and carry is a readout of how resilient your body is. A strong lower body means you'll still be climbing stairs and getting off the floor unassisted when the people around you can't. So don't just chase the pump. Chase strength that you keep for decades, and train the big compound patterns that carry over into real life. Protein is the next piece, and it does double duty here. To build muscle, you need enough of it, generally somewhere in the range of 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day, spread across your meals rather than crammed into one. But protein isn't only building material. As you age, your muscles become a little deaf to the signal that protein sends, something researchers call anabolic resistance. That means the older you get, the more deliberate you have to be about hitting real protein targets and getting enough of the amino acid leucine at each meal to flip the switch. So the habit you build in your 20s and 30s of eating protein with intention is the exact habit that protects you when your body stops making it easy. You're rehearsing now for the version of you that needs it most. At this point, you're probably wondering about supplements. So let's do best supplements for muscle growth honestly, without the hype. Because most of what gets sold to you is expensive nonsense. The short list that actually earns its place is short for a reason. Creatine is first, and it's almost unfair how good it is. It helps you produce force, it supports muscle growth, and here's the longevity angle. There's growing research that it also supports your brain and may help preserve cognition as you age. 3 to 5 grams a day, every day, nothing fancy. Second is protein powder, which isn't magic, it's just a convenient way to hit the protein target we already talked about when whole food isn't practical. After that, vitamin D if you don't get much sun, and omega-3 fatty acids, both of which support muscle and your broader health span. That's genuinely most of it. Everything past that list is chasing a 1 or 2% edge, and a lot of the flashy pre-workouts and proprietary blends are giving you nothing but a racing heart and a lighter wallet. Nail the training, the protein, and the sleep first, then let creatine do the quiet, heavy lifting. Everything I'm giving you here works, but if you want the surplus, the workouts, and the meals already mapped out for you, click the link below and join my Lean Bulk program today. And that word, sleep, is where the longevity story really comes together, because recovery is when you actually age slower. When you're asleep, your body clears cellular waste, balances the hormones that drive muscle repair, and manages cortisol, your main stress hormone. Chronically high cortisol from bad sleep and unmanaged stress does two ugly things at once. It eats into your muscle, and it drives fat storage, especially around your middle, which is the exact fat most linked to metabolic aging. So if you're training hard and eating right but sleeping 5 broken hours a night, you're pouring water into a bucket with a hole in it. Protect your sleep like it's part of the program, because it is the program. Here's one more layer that bridges everything, and it's the piece the pure bodybuilding world tends to ignore. A little cardio, done right, isn't the enemy of your gains. It's an insurance policy for the engine inside your cells. Easy, conversational pace cardio, the kind where you can still hold a conversation, builds the density and health of your mitochondria, the tiny power plants that determine how much energy your cells can produce as you age. You don't need to run yourself into the ground and burn off your hard-won muscle. 2 or 3 easy sessions a week, kept separate enough from your leg training that they don't interfere, gives you a stronger cardiovascular system and a more efficient metabolism without costing you the surplus. Strength keeps you capable. That easy cardio keeps your cellular engine humming. You want both. So let's zoom all the way back out, because I want you to see what you're really doing when you commit to this. You are not bulking for summer. You are not chasing a number on the scale or a look for a photo. You are building an aging-resistant body, one training block at a time. The muscle you put on in your 30s is the muscle you'll be drawing down from in your 70s and 80s. And the person who arrives at that age strong, mobile, and metabolically healthy lives a radically different life than the person who let it all quietly slip away. That's the real return on this. Not the mirror, though you'll enjoy the mirror. The real return is decades of independence, energy, and a body that keeps saying yes long after most bodies start saying no. And the beautiful part is that the exact protocol that builds an impressive physique and the protocol that extends your health span are almost the same protocol. Lift with progressive overload. Eat in a small, honest surplus when you're growing. Get your protein in with real intention. Sleep like it matters. Keep your cardio easy and your creatine consistent. Do that and you get the aesthetic and the added years in the same package. You were never choosing between looking good and living long. You just needed someone to show you they were the same road. So here's what I want you to do this week. Stop thinking of your next lean bulk as a size project and start thinking of it as your first longevity block. Pick the small surplus, not the big one. Log your lifts so you can prove the overload is happening. So don't let another year of muscle quietly slip away. Click that link in the description. Start my Lean Bulk program right now, and let's build the body that carries you for decades. And if this reframed how you see your training, subscribe for more video like this one. I'll see you in that one.